Hey, and welcome to the Guide Shop. Well, today what I'm going to show you is how to replace a Tennessee handle. This rod it's a G Loomis graphite rod. It's like a panfish rod. Belongs to a good friend and a good customer. And he's worn it down so much. I don't know if you can see it or not, but he's worn it down so much that the handle's really rotted out. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this handle off and we're going to replace it with this handle. So what we've done with this handle, we put some painter's tape on it because we're going to have to cut this handle in half so we can put the trim rings back on it. The trim rings that hold the reel in place. We're going to have to put those back on it. So we're going to have to cut it. So what I've got here, I've marked it two ways. I've marked it where we're going to cut it with the saw over there. And then it's got to mark this way so when we put it back together, we have a line to fit it exactly the way it was. So we'll cut it. We'll take the old handle off. We'll cut this, put the trim rings on, put it back. I've got a press that's going to, when we glue it back together, it's going to push it in and make a good tight fit. And we'll know exactly how to fit it by using these marks. And then we'll come back and sand it just a little bit, and it'll look like it never been cut. So what we'll start out doing is taking this old handle off. Now, one thing you need to be careful when you're taking this old cork off, when you get down to the rod, you need to be real careful on getting that cork and glue that's going to be on here off. When you get down close, I recommend you getting an old knife that's dull, that you haven't sharpened, and use that to get the old cork and the old glue off when you get down tight. That way you won't cut into the blank. You don't want anything real sharp getting that stuff off. You have to work it real slow and easy to get that off. And it's okay if it's a little bit bumpy in there when you get this handle off. You know, if you don't get all of it off, because it actually will help this grip. When you put glue on it, it'll actually help it stabilize. So we'll go ahead and start the process of taking this old handle off little by little, clean it up a little bit, and then we'll put this new handle on and get this rod ready to go. All right. These corks are usually put together by rings and then glued together. So the easiest way on some of these old rods to get these handles off is to pick a spot, dig down to the rod, get that pretty clean, and then just take your knife and go in and just pop up, and you'll get to these rings. You'll get so you can take a big piece off like that of these rings, and it makes it a lot easier to get these old cork handles off, because that cork hardens up over time. You don't really want to start cleaning this off yet. You just want to start getting it try to get everything down to what this looks like. I don't know if you can see it real good, but if you just get in there and just try to get it down there right now like this, you can see little pieces of the rod shining through. All the cork came off of it. But just go down and do like one ring at a time, and it's the best way to get this. You don't want to start taking everything off at one time. Just pick one little place and then start moving that way, and then start moving that way. All right, we got it, all the main part of the cork off of it. Now that's where we just slow down, take a little bit off. We got the trim rings off, and so now we're just going to slow down and take the rest of that off. This is the slow part. This is where you want to make sure you don't have a real sharp knife, because you don't want it digging into the blank and causing any stress fractures or weakness. So what you're just going to do is just go in there and clean it off. You don't have to make it totally clean, you know, like those spots right there, because it'll actually help when you glue the replacement handle on. This will actually help it give a little grip right here. So you just need to get it smooth, as smooth as you can. Like you can feel the little burrs. Just get the little burrs out so that cork will slide on there. But you do need to take little sections like that off, and you want everything to look like this. See, that's just enough of the old cork to leave on there as a good grip when you put that handle on. Alright, here's what it looks like with most of the cork off of it. Mostly what you see on here right now is what's left of the glue that was on there. I mean, if you really wanted to get it off, you could keep on, but it's down enough now that, like I said, it just acts as a good grip when you put the new handle on. But you see little pieces of it. You can see the blank, but you really don't want to chance it and dig in there and mess up the integrity of the blank. So if you just get it up this far, get it off, and then we'll be able to put the handle on. What we're going to have to do next with the handle before we cut it, because we had to wait to see what the bottom of the butt of the rod looked like, how thick it was, we're going to have to go in there and ream this hole out so it will slide on the butt of the rod. And you really don't know what size butt that's going to be until you take that handle out, the old handle off. So the next thing we're going to do is just ream the inside of this out a little bit so we can fit it to the butt of that rod. Okay, as I said, we got the handle all marked up and got it basically reamed out to fit the blank. What we do to ream it out, we got a reamer hooked up to the drill here, and just we go in there and ream this thing out so it will fit the blank better. So here we go. Let's see what we got with that. There we go, look at there. So that fits good. There again, we like to have that little bit of roughness in there. Also glue, when we glue it, it's got little crevices in there, small crevices that glue can get. So when we push the handle in, it doesn't push all the glue out toward the front. So what we got to do now is we're going to take the grip over to the bandsaw and cut it in half. And this is so we can put the trim rings on. Alright, now we got the handle here. There's our marks. We're going to put it right in there and cut this thing in half as smooth as possible. We got it ready. Okay, now we got the two halves. So what we need to do now is just take some fine sandpaper. This is 320, and just clean up the ends right there, just to get them smoothed down, so when we put them back together we don't have anything sticking out or in the way. Doesn't take much. The cork is soft. Just run it over there a few times. Okay, and then we're going to get our real rings. I called them trim rings a while ago, but they're real rings. Now you got to make sure when you put these things on that the little slit that your reel goes on is in the right places. So they've got to meet, so they need to be pointed toward the outside. I don't know if you can see that little indentation right there, but that's going to go toward the outside. So when you match that line back up together, you got these real rings that will match up. So now we got to mix up some glue and some epoxy and get this back together. But that's why when we made that mark, we put that line in there so we can line it back up together when it comes to putting it together. Alright, I got my epoxy all mixed up here, and we're just going to start putting it on the rod. Spread it all up and down here. Try to get it in all those little cracks that are in there that we left on purpose. And remember, when we push the grip up on here, it's going to push it toward the front so we can kind of stream it from the front of the rod up this way toward the back, so it'll get on there even, the flow. Okay, now we're going to look at the real rings, and we see that this one's going to go on first. There's the real slot. So we're going to just spin it and get it on up in there. Right there. We're going to take the other one. Let's put a little bit more on here. All right. Now we want to come back in here and make sure we seat this stuff real good right in here. So that cork joins together good. Okay. Take a paper towel and just clean up that epoxy. And that's okay if it's a little rough. Now we got this little rig right here. All right, now I got the handle glued. Now I got it in this device here to put pressure on it, so where I cut it will glue back together real good and tight. And then when it finishes drying, we'll take the tape off and we'll give it a little sand around the glued part, and she'll be ready to go. Alright, here's the finished product. Got the real rings on, ready for a reel to put on there, all sanded down, everything put back together. If you have any questions or anything I did, go to my guide service webpage, and you can contact me through there, or through Instagram or Facebook, however you want to do it. If you got any questions, I'll be glad to share anything I can with you. Alright. Don't forget, you can't catch them if you don't go.